Hello and welcome to a review of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for Nintendo Switch. And there we saw the nice opening cutscene as you enter the world. So, how do you review a Zelda game that's an open world game anyways? So I'm gonna be showing you some of the mechanics and telling you about some of the key things about the game and how a bunch of stuff works. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, naturally, but there is definitely going to be some stuff that might be a bit spoilerish, but just because I'm explaining how some of the mechanics work. But I'll try to keep it at minimum, so it shouldn't affect your experience of the game that much. So, open world Zelda. Quite big difference from earlier Zeldas if you started from the original Zelda like me in the NES. But this one actually feels like a very good like a sequel, actual sequel for the original Zelda, which is actually kind of funny. Has this kind of open world exploration, which actually the original one had as well. It threw you into the game, gave you a sword, and then you went off exploring, found dungeons and all that. This one actually is pretty much the same. So you get thrown in the world, you don't get sword this time around, you instead get a tree branch that you can equip here. So not exactly not exactly the same. So this game features a lot of weapons, that you can collect from enemies, found, get quest rewards, and of course eventually you get the Master Sword as well. One of the biggest complaints about the game has been the game mechanic, as all the weapons in this game break. Even Master Sword kind of has this battery mechanic that you need to recharge it every now and then as you use it. And when you hit with the weapons, for example, we're gonna start banging this stick there, and my branch broke. So you lose weapons very quickly, even good weapons. Better weapons do have higher durability, so you do use them longer. Yeah, Zelda, let's go.
Head for the point marked on the map in your Sheikah Slate.
There's some tutorial stuff, yeah. But it's a good time to tell you about the Sheikah Slate as well. So Sheikah Slate is this thing hanging from your waist there. And it's kind of your inventory, map, etc. management thing. It's basically your Nintendo Switch that you're carrying around in this game. It's kind of Nintendo's thing to always include their consoles inside their games. So this one actually includes a Nintendo Switch, that a tablet you carry around. So this is the map of the game, and it shows you the region, and it's not mapped currently. It just shows you the region borders and the whole area of the map. But as you go through the map, you unlock new parts. There is always a tower in in each of these regions that unlocks the map, like a geographical map of the area. And then as you go around, you find locations that get marked on the map, like this Shrine of Resurrection, which is the starting area. And you get shrines, towers, cities, all kinds of locations. And also in here you have a camera, which you get eventually, so you can take pictures of things, and other powers you get unlocked during the gameplay as well. Very early on, you get basically all the powers you you get, and then later on you get a couple more. But you get in this one you get your powers unlocked very quickly, not unlike in other Zeldas where you go to a dungeon, you get say a bow from there, you get a Titan Smith, you get something that allows you to progress to the next thing. In this one you get basically thrown everything very early on, so that the whole world basically opens up for you. You start around in this kind of tutorial plateau up here on the cliff. Over there you can see this kind of ruined wall, which kind of acts as a border that you can't go down yet. So you are kind of confined in this starting area in the beginning. And I was saying about the weapons that they break, like this one now. Again, says it's gonna be broken in a moment. But later game you get weapons that have a lot longer durability. And a lot of people have been complaining that you lose weapons too quickly. But I never really felt it was a problem. You do definitely go through a army's worth of weapon through the gameplay, but I never felt like I really needed to go grind weapons or anything like that. I had weapons and arrows and everything pretty much always, but I also kept getting them whenever I had an opportunity. I picked up a weapon or bought some arrows or whatever. And let's get actually a weapon here. That's an axe that I wanna grab around. So there we go. Woodcutter's axe. And you can actually throw these weapons as well. So holding out a button here, you can actually throw any weapon. So buy branch, and switch the woodcutter's axe. Let's go to the other inventory menu here. So there's our weapons. You can get some bows, you can get shields, you can get clothing. So you don't have your usual green tunic in this one, as Link usually. I almost said Zelda. Link usually has in these games. But you actually gain a bunch of different clothing in this game, which you can mix and match. You can kind of do Dark Souls fashion shows in this game, and just use the ones you want instead of what might be the best one. There is a lot of different armors, and more coming up. They have different values, like there's a plate armor that's basically just a defense, which is actually really good, and then there's like a sneaking armor and climbing armor and different mechanics related to that. There's also, as you can see on the right there, you can see the green circle, which is my stamina, and under it you can see the temperature in Celsius. And there is cold and hot regions in the game, deserts and mountain tops and snowy regions, and there is gear for both of those. Then there is materials in here, which for example is highly mushroom here, we can eat it, and there's lots of ores and gems and all kinds of monster parts and different foods for materials. And then you can actually craft food out of them, and you can cook things. So let's just head. Actually, let's head this way. This is the key thing about the game. You can go really anywhere you want, whenever you want. So let's just head up the hill here, find some goblins, and go kill them off. And I'll show you also some of the cooking stuff here. And my stamina will run out. The game also has this climbing mechanic, which allows you to pretty much climb any surface. There is some places where you cannot climb, but you can just, if you want to go this way, you can just decide to climb here, if you have the stamina to do it. There's also weather in the game, for example rain and thunder, and during rain weather or thunder weather, climbing is a bit more difficult. Also, lightning can hit you, so be careful with that. So there's some bogoblins there camping, and they have some weapons over there. They don't actually have those weapons at the moment, and we can go kill them. There is also stealthing in the game. As you can see, I crouch down there, so you can stealth around, and you can actually sneak behind enemies and insta-kill them with a weapon if you stealth. And stealth armor, for example, really helps. There's also potions and food effects that help with stuff like that. They also give extra attack power, stamina, defense, and things like that. If you can find some really nice foods. And there is a ton of different cooking recipes in the game. And they also tell you some of the cooking recipes around the world. And it's fun to try out different combos, like what happens if I throw this piece of meat with some apples and mushrooms and things in there. But there's definitely a certain really damn good foods you want to do. So let's go for a spin here and kill the goblins. So just smack them in the head with my big axe. Good jump attack there. This also has this charge ability. Each weapon has a special attack, and on the axe it's this kind of oops get smacked in the head, Link, when you try to show things. This spin to win, you just spin with your axe and just bye goblins. Although this one wants to fight me with his spear. Bye. And they dropped me a shield, which will definitely grab there. Raise your shield. And get a torch. There's a lot of new weapons for us, of course. Did that guy drop down? Got his horn. He probably fell down. The rest of his stuff. So that's some monster parts you collect from enemies. And let's also steal their food. Serret steak. so we could eat this. We lost a bit of health, just nom their foods and eat that. And let's switch to the torch. And actually there are some peppers there, spicy pepper. Let's grab these. And some of the bow goblin parts as well. As you can see, immediately tons and tons of different things start to pop up from the world, and this is just a tutorial area. And this game has kind of dynamic environment, so I'll show you a couple things about this. So for example, trees here with my axe, I can actually chop down that tree and make it fall down. And I can then even chop it into bits and get some firewood and make my own fire somewhere if I feel like doing that. And the other thing is that the fire in this game is kind of dynamic as well. So I can swing my torch in there, or I could also got one of these wooden sticks here, because they're wooden weapons. So it actually counts that this is a wooden weapon. I can actually make that wooden weapon burn, which will eat through the durability, of course. And then there's this cooking area here, so we can actually light it up with a torch or with this weapon. And you can also cause a small forest fire if you're not dangerous. And we can just throw that there. Alright, now we have a fire on the cooking area here, so let's get my trusty tree branch and my shield. You can actually block with the shield like this, and actually it's quite nice way of defending yourself. It also auto-targets enemies when you're nearby. Of course, we don't have any enemies right now, so it targets nothing. So, cooking. You go into your inventory here, and you hold out, say, a couple of mushrooms, and let's throw a spicy pepper there, or two, and then you just drop them into the pot here, and they start cooking there. And you just wait for this animation to go through, and you get some spicy fruit and mushroom mix, which heals 5 hearts and gives a cold resistance of low level. And you can also see the food now in here, and you can also see the recipe if you really want to see the recipe on that, but we don't really need to know it. And you can do this with all these, so we can throw 4 spicy peppers if you really felt like it in there. You can skip the animation and just get some sauteed peppers, 10 minutes of cold resistance, which would be nice. You can see that there is this snowy area immediately next to us there. That's why it gave us a kind of tutorial peppers. And in this area, I would start taking some cold damage. You can see Link being a bit not good because of the cold weather there. And we could eat this, and we are much better. And you can see the cold resistance now on the top left there, ticking down. So this game has a lot of stuff like this, a lot of small things that really bring the world alive. And unlike some other open world games, say Skyrim, where you have a lot of nothing basically. You have a lot of open space, a lot of terrain, but there's nothing usually in there. Maybe a dungeon or a two, like a cave here and there, which often are kind of copy pasted. This one. Instead, this has something everywhere. Like, literally everywhere you look, there's something. There's a stone there with a sword in it. There was a goblin camp here. There's a guy over there. There's a castle or a temple over there. There's something everywhere. And especially once you start going deeper into the game and you start finding shrines and koroks. Koroks are these little guys who are part of the collection thing in the game. You have 900 of them in the game, so they are literally everywhere. Same with the shrines. You find a lot of them everywhere, and the map is just littered with things to do. But it's also kind of one of the weak points of the game, since you can go anywhere and there is a lot of things everywhere. It kind of leads into this kind of generalization of things. So you don't find anything super unique and special almost ever. You're given all the abilities in the beginning of the game. Bow is just a bow. You find a random bow and that's it. You don't actually have to do a dungeon to find a bow in this game, and so on. So all the places you find are usually just basically koroks that give you seeds that you can use to increase your inventory space, and then you get shrines that give you spirit orbs, which can be used to increase your health and stamina. So it's basically just those you keep finding, and then random weapons and random gear And very rarely it's even armors or anything. It's just weapons and shields and stuff like that. So it kind of leads into this kind of generalization of loot, and it's definitely one of my biggest complaints about this game, that you don't get that feel of finding something amazing like an item. Usually in RPGs and especially open world RPGs like this and Skyrim and other games, I'm very much a loot oriented player myself, and finding that amazing piece of unique gear is always that feeling. But this one kind of doesn't have that. Although it's not still a bad thing, since it is really fun to just run around and explore things in this game. You start to notice that, oh, that's definitely a Korok there, and that's a Korok, of course, there. And this one actually is a Korok, very likely here. So this little guy. You'll be hearing Yahaha a lot in this game. And he gives you a seed. This Korok seed. And you'll find a lot of these guys. Oops. Oh, going around. But even if you don't want to find that epic unique gear, finding out things around is really nice. Also, there is a lot of the shrines. I won't say the number because that might be a spoiler for some people, but there is a lot of them, and most of the shrines are actually unique still, which is was very surprising for me. There's a lot of these kind of test of strength kind of shrines which basically you fight a same type of enemy all the time. But most of the other shrines where you have to do like these kind of logic puzzles and different things, they are all unique. There's of course same teams and same abilities are being used in a bunch of them, but still they are very different from each other. And that was a really nice to experience in this game. That even though you did a bunch of the shrines, I've actually haven't completed all of them yet. But there is a lot of them, so it was really nice that they were so different from each other. So it never felt like, oh, I'm doing this same thing again, and this same shrine. Even though the loot every time is the spirit orb, so you always know kind of what you're getting out of that. But it was good experience, definitely. Funny thing, I've actually played this over 100 hours and I've never been in this area, so that kind of tells you how much of things there are to find. And the good thing about this game is also that everything you see here, you can go there. Now, I've been on most of those areas as well. The draw distance of the game is just crazy. Bless you there, wife, on the background. So, like the mountain there, the Death Mountain, you can actually go there, or anywhere here, and it's really nice. A change of pace to many other games where you are kind of walled off. Of course, there is edges of the map where you will eventually not be able to go there, and it just gives you a message and there is that wall. You can't go there. But anywhere else, pretty much, you can just go anywhere, and you can climb anywhere, which is really nice. And later on in the game, you get abilities that allow you to travel a lot easier and a lot quicker upwards and distances. The game also has horses, so you can get your own horse, or several horses actually, tame them. There's a bunch of different horses, not just your trusty old steed from other Zeldas, which actually is behind an amiibo in this one. But you actually have to tame your horse in this game, and you can use them to travel around. And they're actually really cool how they're made in this game, because they auto-track on the roads, so you can kind of autopilot them. I like to use them, especially if I'm going between cities, to just go on the road and pilot directly where I was going, planning to go, which is really nice. Let's see if I can actually stab this guy and murder him from stealth here. This goblin doesn't know what's coming. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he does. But later on, also the horses kind of lose their effectiveness. They're definitely nice early game. Once you get out of the tutorial area, you find your first horses fairly quickly. They're really nice at that point of the game, because of the terrain is kind of flat, and horse is good for traveling in that area. But once you get the later parts of the game and you unlock those other travel options, it definitely makes the horses a lot less good. Especially because a lot of the terrain is not very suitable for the horses. The horse kind of stops whenever there is even a small difference in terrain. Like it would go directly over these hills like this, but if there's even a small cliff, it would not be able to climb over that. There's some random loot we found. There's a bunch of these goblins guarding chests or different enemies guarding chests, which you can kill and then unlock the chest. These usually have like a small amounts of money, arrows and things you can find. We also got our first bow there from one of the enemies. There's an opal for us. So we got a bow, so now we can switch to a bow here. We can also switch to different arrows if we had different arrows. And you're gonna aim with the bow like this. I don't actually have any arrows, so maybe that's why we couldn't switch to any arrows. But you can actually move around and aim with the bow, and you often kind of have to. Aiming with this controller is actually not too bad. You can enable motion control, so I'm actually lifting my controller up and down like this, and it actually quickly turns the camera. This motion control is also used in several of the puzzles of the game. I actually did turn this motion control off though, because I felt just aiming with this stick was much easier. There were actually I used an ability there accidentally. So this is the scope of the Sheikah Slate, our iPad, Nintendo Switch of the game, and this allows you to basically it's a camera basically, and it's basically also binoculars, which allows you to scout around. And it also used to use this marking system, so we could, for example, drop a marker there. And maybe somewhere in the mountain there, or there. And it marks stuff on the map here. So you can use this scope to just scout around areas. Like you see, there's an interesting looking area. There's the castle. We'll just mark that, and I'll go check that around at some point. There's some more markers there. It only does have several of these pins you can set with these colors, but you can also change the stamps here. So, for example, if you choose that, for example, say shrines are stars, you could mark, okay, there's a shrine, there's a shrine here. Of course, there wasn't shrines on those locations, but you know what I mean. So you can mark those, and then, okay, I'll remember those later. Those were shrines, and then you basically clear out your pins that you can do with the scope, so you can scope around more things with this. So it is kind of limited to 5 pins, but then you can change these or even delete them as needed. So these are basically just quick waypoints, and then you have the better markers here that you can keep track of things. I use this feature quite a lot during my playthrough. I marked shrines, I marked Koroks that I couldn't get to yet, I marked some certain enemy locations and things with these. Just points of interest here and there that I was like, I'm gonna go check that a bit later, I'm going this way first. This game definitely has that, oh, one more turn, or I'll just check this one thing. Oh, it's 5 in the morning suddenly, feeling. And especially me, I'm always in this kind of games like, okay, I'm gonna go do that quest, and I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna do that. Oh, butterfly, ooh, shiny, I'm gonna go check that one. What is this thing here? And then several hours later, oh yeah, we were gonna do that quest. Where was that? So it's really fun. Ouch. Exploring things like that in this game. Even a butterfly here, you can sneak on the butterfly and craft the butterfly. It's a crafting material. So there is small things like this, crafting things everywhere, and shrines and things. There's actually one of the shrines right there. Not really marked yet because I skipped the tutorial part at the start of the game there, because I didn't want to spoil the dialogue for you guys or anything like that, so you can explain it yourself. But yeah, the game is this is a very likely my game of the year for this year, hands down. It is not a flawless game, of course, but it is a pretty damn good game. There is some issues, like I said, the generation of the loot. You don't get that amazing loot experience and all of that I was kind of hoping to get. I felt also that with the shrines being everywhere, they kind of became a it's a shrine, it's correct thing very quickly. And there's no like proper dungeons in the game. There is some kind of dungeon-like things later on in the game, which are part of the main quest, of course. But there was not that water temple and all of those from the previous Zeldas that you really liked or hated in case of water temples or water dungeons in general in this type of games. So I felt like they could have done a bit more with that. It's still a great game. Oh hey, arrows, thank you. So now we're gonna actually switch to some arrows. There's also a bunch of different villages in the game that you can go to. There's shops, quests in towns, of course, different vendors, and all kinds of different stuff in each of the towns. And they're all kind of different. Each race basically lives in their own village. The familiar races from Zelda games, the Hylians themselves, like Link himself. Then you have some Gorons, the rocky mountainous guys, the Zoras, the kind of fish people that live in the water, the bird people, and all of those are in this game in their own villages in different areas. And there is usually something related to main quest line in those places. And it's really fun to check those out. And they are kind of interesting as well, because they are almost like they are like real villages. They actually do things there, and it's fun to. You can spend a day just following guy and seeing what his daily routine is, and it actually kind of changes a bit also between the days, and it's really fun to see what happens there in those villages. And you can also do a bunch of quests for the villagers that give you some certain things that I don't want to spoil. But there is a lot to do in each village, and there's a lot to do everywhere in the game as well. You find like side quests every corner of the game. You just go basically wherever you want to, and like, hey, there's a dude. Oh, what's this guy? Oh, side quest. And they tell you to do various things. There's a lot of them are related somehow to shrines. Like you unlock a shrine through that, and it usually is the puzzle related to the shrine. It's basically outside of the shrine instead of inside the shrine. But they're really fun, and they changed the shrine mechanic a lot around as well. I feel like I'm gonna jump down there, but maybe I shouldn't before I have the tutorial stuff done. But anyways, that's basically my quickish review of the Zelda, Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild by Nintendo, and it is a masterpiece of a game. Really amazing. It's definitely worth buying the console, at least for me. I was totally blown away by the game, and I've had so much fun. And they're also bringing out some DLC for the game. One in the summer, which actually is already released just a couple of days ago, and then another part of DLC coming later towards the Christmas time of 2017, which will add a lot of more content. Also, ways to experience the current content, like hard mode, in a new way, which is really nice to get even more out of this massively expansive game. But yeah, that's Legend of Zelda. Go pick it up. I highly recommend it. Buy a Switch for it, or play it on Wii U if you have that. But anyways, thank you for watching this review. And if you liked this review, check out other reviews, Let's Plays, and everything on the YouTube channel. And check out the live stream on Nard.tv, where we play mostly strategy building management games. Zelda as well on Sundays. Sundays are Switch day, so we'll play a lot of Switch games there, which has been currently been Zelda for many weeks. But we'll definitely dip on some other games there as well. And I'll see you next time. So thank you for watching, and bye bye.